Okay, now everything is okay. So a little bit about Yuval Wagner, and I will put here his photo. He's our lieutenant, the Colonel Yuval Wagner, former Israeli Air Force pilot, and he established the Access Israel in 1999. Okay, as Access Israel, we really talking accessibility, but it's not the main goal. We're trying to integrate into society and life all people with different kind of disabilities. So all the things we're talking today, there are a variety of disabilities. In the Purple Vest mission, this is what we done in 2022. The project was established as an idea to support Ukrainian population. And when we are talking about target demographic, I would like you to ask, and now please open your microphone or write in the chat what % of the world population have disabilities, in your opinion, okay? What % of world population have disabilities? What do you think? Twenty, 25, 15, 30, 35. Up to 30 to 5%. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Actually, this is a great number. Some of you are really optimistic, but in fact, 15 to 25% of the world population have disabilities. And we are talking about all kinds of disabilities. It's a physical, vision, hearing disability, mental disability, intellectual or communicative disabilities. In Israel, there are approximately 1.6 million people with disabilities, almost 20% of Israeli population. And these are wide range of disabilities, okay? So all disabilities are written here. This is what we have. So we are here today to talk about students with disabilities, and it is an opportunity for you to hear and learn about the main challenges of students with disabilities and try to improve the educational experience for them. A person goes through several significant stages in life. It's a kindergarten, school, military service, university, employment, and retirement. The university stage is a significant step before the person embarks to independence. So another question is, and actually it's two questions. Is it possible to achieve respect, equality in life, and inclusion with no education? Is it possible to achieve respect, equality in life, and inclusion with no education? What do you think? You can write in the chat. We have a translator here. You can translate, she can translate it for us. You can write it in Ukrainian. We will manage it. Plus it means yes, okay. Okay. Yes, no. Okay, mostly no. Okay, I really accept the Olena answer. The higher education gives us more opportunities. So it's important to understand the power of accessibility in higher education and how significant it for the person with a disability, for his growth, for development, and right to advance in all areas of life. So when we are talking accessibility, we're actually talking about the quality of life, the respect, equality, integration into society, normal life. Okay, I don't want to feel myself disabled. I do want to do a lot of things, and very important things, inclusion. So what exactly accessibility is? We need to reach destination and get services. For example, a student with visual disability can arrive to the university only with an accessible bus, traffic lights that beeps, an elevator with an audio announcement. He can reach destination, but when in a class, the professor gives his lecture with videos, pictures, and without any description, student will not have any idea what is happening in it. This is not accessible. It starts even before the lecture itself starts. The professor will present themselves with a proper description. And this is what I am wearing. I have a blue t-shirt. I have glasses. I have beard, mustache. This is my hair color. Also in the building, students need to use the printer, the copier machine, a vending machine. All of this needs to be accessible. Usually we are talking about 3 levels of accessibility. Not accessible at all. It means that the person has no way to get to the place or use any services. Accessible in accordance with the law and regulation. In Israel, it means that if I am coming to the university, I will have the reserved seats and a free passage to a front row in a classroom. And 3, it's accessible and justified according to inclusive design principles. When we are talking about accessibility according to the principle of inclusive design, the aisles are free in all rows. The classroom is all one level. There are accessible seats all over the classroom. And the person who choose or can choose where to sit, because not every student would like to sit in the front row. Now, take a look at this picture, please, and tell me what are the differences between the top and bottom row. Again, you can write it in the chat, or you can open your microphone. What are the differences between the top and bottom row in the picture? Someone, yes, no. Okay, on the top row, it's a people with disabilities. Okay, on the bottom row, people without disabilities, kind of normal people. The top one is a people with disabilities, and the lower one, actually the fact that you cannot see doesn't mean that there is no disability. And from here on, another question: to whom it's more challenging to provide service? To people that you can see his disability, or to someone who has an invisible disability? Invisible. Look, even if you see the disability, there are still big challenges in providing service, because we make assumptions, because we treat them differently, and we think we know what that person needs, but not necessarily. It is most common, for example, with elderly people, and it was a very interesting situation when our blind lady was waiting to her friend near the road, and someone just grabbed her and helped her to cross the road. And when they get on another side, she asked him, okay, to bring her back, because actually there was no need to cross the road. She was waiting for someone. And if you are not asking, you're actually making a lot of assumptions. Language creates reality. In Access Israel, we believe that language creates reality. We don't say disabled, handicapped, or cripples. It's offensive and disrespectful. We should say people with disabilities or student with disability. The emphasis on the word people. I personally know a lot of people with disabilities, but they are not disabled, and they don't want or should be treated as a disabled person. And sometimes they are even more physically active and even engage in extreme sports. Now I want to show you the following video. Let me. Okay.
In 20 years, man may be able to live on the moon. In 40 years, we may get to Mars. During the next 200 years, we may be able to leave the solar system and head for the stars. But meanwhile, we would like to be able to go to the supermarket, the cinema, and restaurants.
There are 4 accessibility principles. The principle of inclusion, it means to include everyone, including the students with disabilities, in a way of physical inclusion, like the classroom or remote learning, with editing subtitles to the video. 2, it's a principle of sequence. For example, a student in a wheelchair managed to get all the way to university, but if there is a big plant or even a tiny one or stairs in the entrance, it's no longer accessible for him. And we broke the sequence. The sequence needs to be kept all the way from when the person with disability interested in enrolling, all the way until he graduates. 3, the principle of flexibility and availability. It means to give awareness even if you don't have all the tools for accessibility. Give your answers. Think outside the box. Try to be creative. A friend of mine with hearing disability went to a restaurant with friends, and she had a trouble to read lips, and the music was very loud. So she turned to the manager and asked for help. He was very sensitive and moved her to the lighter area in the restaurant and turned the music down so she could have a fun with other friends, just everyone else. 4, the principle of non-discrimination, to provide equal service and to prevent discrimination. So what do we make accessible in institution for higher education? Buildings, services, and individuals. In the buildings, we have classes, laboratories, cafeteria, etc. We also need to have a wide corridors, doors, proper lighting, adjusted tables, accessible shelves, and reception desks, all suitable for people with wheelchairs. And you can check the suggestion of them by using the A-Check application, and I'll try to put it A-Check up. Rani, I will need you help. Your help on the A-Check app. If you can just put it down. Thanks.
No problem. 1 minute.
Okay. A-Check app creates a planning of accessibility in buildings. You can record the video, and you will have a feedback if your facility is accessible and what you can do to make these facilities more accessible. In the services, we have a call center, and the question, how can you serve someone that cannot hear? If your call service is accessible, it's a student administration, websites, they have to be accessible websites, events, conferences, publications. In Israel, we're using the people with visual impairments using the Right Here app, and I will put it here. I already know that it is working in Ukrainian. Okay. Again, you are recording the surroundings. Okay. And the application will describe you what's going on around you. For individuals accommodations, we have support center, study materials, exams. So we need actually people to understand how to help those who really ask for help. Who is it relevant for? Imagine a family member who cannot attend his son's graduation ceremony or any other event. So it is not only for the students or employees, the accessibility matter, it's matter for family members, workers, guests, lecturers, applicants, etc. When we start talking accessibility, usually we are talk about physical accessibility and the service accessibility. And in accessible service in higher education, we will start with individual accommodations. There are adjustments that need approval, like transcriptions, sign language translation, physical adjustments. For example, students with hearing disability who found it's very difficult to follow in a class agreed with the lecturer that the lecturer will send him the presentation 2-3 days before, and it will be easier to students to manage in a class. Support center. In Israel, in every university, there must be support center to support students with disabilities. It's a personal guidance for the students, such as assisting of submitting the requests, individual accommodation, and etc. It's a counseling assistance, guidance for students, procedures, for example, recruitment procedures, the phone services. So let's say you have in your university someone who just broke his leg. What do? How can you help them? What do you do in your institutions when someone just broke his leg? Natalia? Okay. In Israel, they are usually changing the classes. Lubov, it means that it wasn't accessible, so you had to sit at home. Okay. So there is no other options. You have to be at home if something happened with you. We do have here employee training, just to help to employee understand and serve the problems with the accessibility in his place. You don't really need to change everything. Sometimes it's just a sensitivity and really thinking out of the box. And as I told you before, the procedures. It is very important, the principle of sequence. The principle of sequence can be in the physical or in service. Accessibility is creating equality of life for all of us. For now, I don't really need the accessibility facilities, but in the age of 80, we will all need it. Accessibility is like everyone else, all about the small details. In the end, you can do a lot, but all the small steps must be correct. And this is what makes a big difference. Here is some pictures. I want you to look at that. And please tell me, what do you think? Is it accessible? Now we're looking on a parking lot. Please tell me, what do you think? Is it accessible? No. Okay. There is no enough slot. Yes. It's not enough to make a sign that this is accessible parking. We have to plan it properly. Okay. Is it good parking? The second picture. Again, no. What do you think about this picture? Is it accessible? No. Again, no. Okay. It's accessible from the one side, but on another side, it's not accessible. Okay, I don't need to ask about this picture. Please tell me, is it accessible? And to whom it making problems, okay? Think about people with disabilities and tell me, Ihor, yes. Actually, people with visual impairments, if it's not enough contrast on the color, it's an obstacle. The same this picture. They cannot really recognize it while they are walking. Look at the entrance to the building. We're talking about the ramps. Why the left one is not accessible? Why the left picture, the ramp on the left picture, is not accessible? Yeah. Amazing, really good answers. And you can see on the right picture, it's on your right picture, you really have a very nice ramp going over, and the beautiful one. Again, we have this kind of entrance to the building. What do you think? Okay, it's understand that this is inaccessible. And on your right side, the right picture, is it accessible? Why it's not accessible? Why the right picture is not accessible? The door is not accessible. It's not enough place for the wheelchair, yeah. Of course, all these glasses with no contrast in the color, the people with visual impairments can be really injured. So the sequence of a physical accessibility, and inside the buildings, we do have an elevators, toilets, interior design include the classrooms, but also the design of all other indoor spaces like waiting area, corridors, aisles, accessible seats. There is a sequence of physical accessibility. We do need to think about the place for people with disabilities. Look at these pictures. This is an accessible table, an accessible seating area, which means the height of a table and the space by the chair fits the wheelchair. The sequence of physical accessibility. You can see, this is all real pictures, yeah? These ramps. This kind of entrance. Even if it looks okay, it's okay for me and you, but people with disabilities cannot use it. A blind person, or even person with a walking cane. Sometimes we just take in a place. We get some equipment and we put in equipment in, and the person with disability just cannot use it. This kind of parking. Are they sign accessible? Do you think these signs accessible? Can you describe why not? Why this sign is not accessible? Look, it's very difficult to see even for me, okay, and have glasses. This is no contrast. We do have a toilet, and pay attention, it's accessible toilet. What the problem is? We even can see it, and the contrast is good, the color is good enough. they do have an accessible toilet, but actually there is no sequence here. Someone in a wheelchair cannot use it. And again, this, no ramp. And again, if you are coming to the higher education, you can see classes. Most of them are not accessible. There is steps. This is not enough space for a wheelchair. Stair to the stage. And again, no room in the library. I saw Shmulik, are you with us?
He will be back in a few minutes.
Ah, okay. Today you will have a personal story of a person with disability, so we will continue and he will join us a little bit later. Remote learning. When the corona starts, we sit at home and we actually discovered the remote learning. But what the main challenges of remote learning to people with disability? We can go through different disabilities and to see how each disability going over the remote learning. It's a difficult, like a visual disability. There is a problem or challenge to use software. Understanding who is speaking, even if I connected and the meeting is started, if someone just connect me and help me with my computer, the people are talking and usually they are not present themselves. Absorbing visual information. It's a physical disabilities. Can I sit 3 hours for all day meeting? Motor functioning, technology. Hearing disabilities. Do you have a subtitles while you are giving the lectures? Do you have a student that they really need sign language? What's going on in remote learning with people with autism? It's very important for them, the environment, the social gaps, the lightings, colors, intellectual disabilities. What's going on with people with mental disabilities? Usually, if we are talking about the remote learning, we are talking about advanced preparation, materials, expectations, checking if they can hear and see us before we are going to start the lecture. Plan the lessons, make sure that the students have breaks, repeat questions if it's needed, technical features, lesson recording, chat use, automatic subtitles. You can use the speech to text, presentations. It's very important to avoid the microphone for those who really need to read your lips. Sit in front of the camera. Clear lights. Hear the students' request. Ask them what you need and how you can help you. We can see this kind of equipment, the people to prepare themselves. Shmulik, are you here?
Yes, he's waiting.
Ah, okay, so we can start with the Shmulik. Cool. I will stop my presentation now. And Shmulik, can you open your video and the microphone, please?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, my terms are not so well today. I'm not at home now, so I took some room from someone.
Okay.
But I will try to do it.
So
as
we are
long as you
here
can hear me.
and to hear today again accessibility in higher education. And please just describe yourself and tell us your story. Share your story.
I will be happy to. Thank you very much. My name is Shmulik Samuel Shnider. I'm 57 years old, married, and have 3 children. Until 10 years ago, I was walking on my legs. From 10 years, I'm sitting on a wheelchair. I was afraid all the time. Before I was on a wheelchair, I was afraid of being bored. I didn't want to be bored in my life. I was afraid of routine, and I couldn't stand. I couldn't live with not doing anything, and I did many things. I was an officer in the intelligence of forces, special intelligence forces. After it, I was in another government employee, and I was doing in parallel many things. I was doing many things. I did a course of driving license teachers. I wanted to, and I did teach people parallel with my work. I was volunteering in my school as with the organization of the parents, and I was volunteering, doing all the things for school with the teachers and students. I was in the Magen David, it's ambulances of Israel. I was there as a medic and the ambulance driver. I had a motorcycle and a jeep. I was traveling all around with friends all the time. I couldn't sit. I couldn't sit on my sit and be relaxed. Today I'm sitting for 10 years. I'm sitting for all the time that I couldn't sit before. What happened 10 years ago? When I wanted to decide if I go back to the army or to be a school teacher, I started to learn criminology and history, and I wanted to be a teacher or to do something with that. I started and couldn't finish it because I got a cancer in my colon. It was in a level of 4. It was very hard, but they make me the operation. It was very good. And after it, a day after it, I got a message that I can go back to the army. I stopped learning, and they told me that I can go to the army. Before I went to the army, the doctor advised me to put some catheter in my, it's called a protocol, to put it in my shoulder, and then I can get chemotherapy, and it will be okay. I can do whatever I want to. It's a low chemotherapy. It won't affect me too much, and I will be clean, and I can go and do whatever I want to. But this catheter was infected with a bacteria that all the time killed the people. It couldn't kill me. My chance that it didn't kill me, but it affected me very much, and I became paralyzed. I can form a paraplegic from my, it's called T8. It's from my back and to the legs. I couldn't walk again. 5 days of heat, 5 days of very bad feeling, and the doctors didn't know what to do. They didn't do some easy check that they have to do, and then if they would do it, they could find this bacteria, but they didn't do it, and I became unable to move. I became paraplegic from my stomach down there. It was 1 year that I I was in the hospital in a rehabilitation neurologic unit. I can spare it to half a year and half a year. The first half year was very tough for me, and I couldn't do nothing. From one guy who was doing everything, I couldn't do nothing. I was in a very bad condition, very bad feeling, and I didn't want to do anything. But I had a very strong family, very strong friend, a lot of friends, and I can appreciate it until now. And they helped me to get from the bad feeling and the hard feeling and the situation, the change of the situation in my life. That was the half first year. After it, after 6 months, I decided that I'm going to do something with myself. I call my superior, my doctor in the university, and he told me that I can keep on learning, as you said before, with the remote learning, online learning with the computer. And then at the hospital, I started to learn. I keep on learning from the time that I stopped, and he was very, very kind with me. And I do all the learning, and I didn't do tests. I do work instead of tests. All that was from the hospital. I was very busy with myself. Also, I did everything to get all the knowledge how from now on I will manage with my wheelchair. I will manage in life, and they do me all the tests and the physiotherapy that I need to do. That was the second 6 months. After a year, I went home. And now it was started again to do all the rehabilitation, all the restoration at home, to change the wall, to break walls, to make everything that will be fit to me as a guy with unable or disabilities, and I couldn't do many things, but I started to do things because before I was very, very active also at home. I did everything. After a few months at home, I started to, I got a car. I got a car, it's a big van that I have an elevator in the van. I can go up on the elevator. I can drive by myself. I can do everything as a regular guy with not a disability, without disabilities, that he can do things and go whenever he wants to go. I was driving by myself. There is no a chair in the steering place, and I could got in the car, inside the car with the wheelchair, with the elevator, and then to go with the place with the steer and to drive with my hands, only with my hands, one hand on the steer, one hand on the handle. That the handle is doing also the gas, the to move the car, also to the brakes, to stop the car. The car, which means to me a lot, because it's to be independent, to do things, and not to be stuck at home, to go whenever I want to, even though there are many problems, and it couldn't be as spontaneous that it before, because every place I had to go, I have to check if there is if it's available. If it's available to get inside, to get in, to park the car, to get to the place that I want to go. So my life are not spontaneous anymore. If I need to do something, I have to check before if I can go there. And if I'm not it's not available for me, and there is no facilities for disabilities people, so I feel very bad. I felt very bad. That wasn't happen in the university when I got back. I know that you come from the academic world, and I will tell you a list of things that it's very important that people with disabilities won't feel the disability, and if there is a containing them and a bit sensitivity to them and a bit awareness for those people, those needs, so we won't feel different. And if we won't feel different, that's the meaning of life, that's the meaning of not being in disabilities. That I will tell you in a few minutes from now. But if there are any questions until now, please.
Shmulik, I know that you were teaching in a school. Please just tell explain about your first meeting with students.
Okay, so I can do a spoiler. And yes, I finished my history learning, and then I stayed in the university. I told you I will tell you there what happened in the university. I studied to be a teacher, and I got the certificate to be a teacher, and now I'm teaching history and a bit Arabic, because I was in the army and I know Arabic. I teach them Arabic and history. Mostly the major is history. It's not so easy for children to see a teacher on a wheelchair, to see a guy on a wheelchair. Sometimes they're embarrassed. They don't know what to do, what to tell, how to treat me, what to do, what not to do. And because of that, the first meeting for me with the class, I'm going to the class, I introduce myself, and then I'm talking. The first lesson is, or half lesson, it's for me and for the children to, we call it to break the ice. To break the ice and to tell them who am I, what I was before, what I am now, what's my needs, what I feel. I'm talking about what happened to me. In a short, I don't tell them everything with from the medical life, but I'm telling them things that they can contain and understand what are my needs, and to do that, to understand that I'm a regular guy and wanted to be a teacher. It was a dream of my life before, and I'm doing it now, even though they are it's not easy as I thought it will be, but when I'm talking to children and they begin to respect me as a man, not as a disability, with not pity, not to feel pity for me, not to mercy me, and only to feel me as a teacher that is transportation is on a wheelchair, and so they get it very easy. They know how to respect, they know how to help. If I'm calling some children to the board to write some things, it's because I cannot do it, even though I use the computer a lot. I cannot do it by myself, and they like to do it. It's not a punishment for children to go to the board and to write things. It's for me as a teacher, and they even like to do it. I'm traveling around the class. They know that I can be in the front and in the back and everywhere, and not as a regular teacher, but I'm doing it not all the time. I have this wheelchair, and they know if I need help, they know how to ask me if I need help, and they respect me more. But the first thing is to introduce myself and to tell them what I am, what I was, and after it, there is no more questions, and they know how to how to contain the situation with me, how to tell, okay, he's a teacher, he's disability, but he's okay. He's a teacher, but he's on a wheelchair, but he's okay. But he's okay. That's what I do with all the children. Also, I do it with the teachers, with the staff of the teachers. I connect them the first time, the first day, or in a vacation when we are organized the learning time, and I'm talking with them about everything. I'm telling them who I am, so they won't say, okay, now it will be hard for us. Now we have to do things for him. Nothing at all. And I explain them what I need, what I don't need, what I was before, what I am now, what I expect to do, and it's okay. The schools, last thing about that, the schools are in Israel mostly okay with the facilities of people with disabilities. There are elevators, most of the schools. There are elevators that go on stairs. There are elevators that go from floor to floor. There is sometimes we have to widen the entrance of the class. We have to lower a bit the board. We have to do also toilet for me. We have to widen the doors, to do handles. There's many things. There is a law in Israel, but not everyone respects the law. But although with the law we have there is sensitivity, and if there is awareness, and they contain me. So that's the things that I do before when I started to learn at the beginning of the year. Okay, Catherine?
Yes, thank you. And how was your study at the university? Was it accessible?
My study at the university, I have to tell you all, I don't know what's going on in other countries. I know it's in America, it's in the USA, it's very expensive, but all the facilities to make the place accessible for us, for disability people, it's so expensive in Israel. All the elevators, all the handles, all the things that we have to do, all the toilets that people have to do for us, it's very, very, very very, very too much money. Too much money. It's and I don't think that it's okay, but there is nothing that I can do. I can't do with that, but it's so much expensive, so expensive. And when I came to the university, they already fits to us people with disabilities first, and I did it for 1 year, and it's so much, it's so important. I was volunteering with the Student Association to be the presenter of the people with disabilities at the university. If there are students with any disabilities, I know about him. I have the list. I know what he needs, and I'm talking through the Student Association with the staff of the administration of the university, and we help them to get everything that they need. For example, acoustic classes for people with the hearing problem. So expensive. I didn't know how much it's expensive, but there are classes for people with hearing problems, for example. Toilet for the people, everything, parking places for disability people's mobility, and we have parking places from the entrance of the university. There in the first gate that except are in is opening immediately for people with disabilities. I tell you the truth, it's so nice to have it that he's recognized me. My name is in there in the computer, and we have to make a list, and then I can get inside. It's a very good feeling. After it, I'm talking about parking places, and in Israel, parking places for people with disability, people are not respected, and there's many problems. It's the main problem of respecting people, that people catch our parking places. At the university, it won't happen. Won't happen because the security know about it, and also the guy like me he is the presenter of the disability guy, is always connected with the university, and know how to find the people who put the car in the wrong place. The registration of the student in the computer, it's written nearby my name. It's written that I have a disability in mobility. And how it's good for us? It's good for us because every year, every semester, they put us in classes. They know that I need a special class with a wide entrance and the elevator to get inside, and they put me in the class that fits to my needs. Also, it go with exams. When I have to do exam, a test, they send me to a class that I have this. I have my ability. It's ready for us to get inside. I was talking about the classes. I was talking about the presenter. I was talking about parking places and entrance, and also I'm talking about the toilets. Toilets for people with needs like us, to be available for us with a wide door and entrance, and also three more things. One is help in the library. The librarian know that when I go inside, she already gets from the chair, and she's helping me to get my book, my article, everything I need. Even though I want to get it by myself, she helps me to do it faster. Some places I cannot reach them, so they help me. Or one student who has got his volunteering day there, he is doing it for me. Also the restaurant of the cafeteria of the university. Not anything is available for us. There are things that's upstairs, downstairs, and always when I came there, one guy from all the students or that work in the cafeteria or in the restaurant get out from the cashier and help me to get some of the things that I need. So I'm talking about the library and the restaurant. And the last thing that I saw in my university was very good. There is a technique guy who teach me at the first of the year how to use the elevators with the stairs. If I can manage it alone, and it's safety to do it by myself, I have a special key or a special code, I'm doing it by myself. If I cannot, I have his number, and I have to call him a bit before, and he come already anytime to help me to organize and to work with the elevator. And it's so much helpful to know that I'm going and I don't have to worry about the facilities or the accessible place. I can be sure that my class is accessible, the entrance is okay, everybody, and I won't be someone that because of me the lesson stop and they have to wait until I get in and do things. It's a hard feeling for me as a student, as a man, as a guy. And although it's so expensive, they're doing it for us, and I appreciate it very much. I let them know that I appreciate very much with the letter, of course, to all the managers, and it's very important, the thing that we'll do to help us, the student, or as a teacher, that I have these facilities and I won't feel different. I feel like everyone else.
Thank you, Shmulik. Any other questions? Guys, you have an opportunity.
I'm sorry about my English, and I'm sorry that I don't know Ukrainian.
You can
My family,
describe your roots, yeah.
My family came from Ukraine at the year of 1900. They came as pioneers. One came 1882, became pioneers in Farsaba, farmers. They came from a small town. I don't know what's going on today, but they came from a small village. It's called Makarov, near Kiev, 80 kilometers from Kiev. That's what they told me. But they didn't want to talk us Ukrainian and Russian. They want us to know Hebrew because we're in Israel. So pity, but I don't know the language. I'm sorry for that.
Any questions, guys? Chat. You can open your microphone and you can ask. It's for you, Shmulik.
It's for me?
Mm-hmm.
Language, interpretation available. Click here to get started.
בן אדם אמיץ וחזק, ואנחנו מאחלים לך המון שנים ארוכות ומאושרות.
Thank you very much. I hope you will get.
המון כבוד.
I hope also. Thank you very much. I hope you will get also quiet over there when you are with safety and well. There's no problems. You have a tough life there over the tough time. I hope you will get over it. It will be okay, and we can manage to deal with university and facilities for disabilities people, not war.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shmulik. Thank you for coming to us. Be healthy.
Thank you.
I will continue.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Katarina. Thank you, Ami. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shmulik.
I will continue a little bit with our presentation. We're almost finished. Accessibility and inclusion guidelines, okay? Help people, patience and sensitivity, it's a very important. Remember, there is a people with disabilities that are visual.
Katarina, share back the screen.
I will share the presentation, okay. Now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, תודה. Talk to the person, not to his companion, even if he's coming with someone. Remember that the wheelchair, dog, cane, this is a part of the personal space, and you have to ask before you touch it. Remember that disabilities can be hidden, as I told you before. As Shmulik told you before, we do have in university the support center for persons with disabilities, but some of them, they don't want to describe what kind of disability they have. They just come to ask for help and they describe what kind of help they need. They don't really need to reclaim all the health list they have. The student with disability is the first and foremost a person. Talk to them, ask them, and you can really help them a lot. And we believe here in Access Israel that they help me help you. It means two questions. Do you need help? And how can I help you? Now I want to show you the following video, and again with a volume.
אני לא רוצה להפריע, אבל אתה יכול לזוז קצת?
נו, תזוז קצת.
גברת, מה, את לא רואה?
פשוט תעשה לי מקום.
סליחה? דיברת אליי?
אל תגידי ללכת מסביב.
רגע, לאן נעלמת? איפה הוא?
אל תלך סחור סחור.
גם אני רוצה להיות חלק.
אני לא מבין מה כל כך מסובך.
תסתכל עליי, אתה מדבר.
לא עליו, עליי.
דבר לאט.
קצת יותר לאט.
אני לא אילם. אני חרס.
תמיד אותו דבר. אתם מבינים מה אני צריכה לעבור?
ואתה מבין מה אני צריך לעבור?
ועוד דבר קטן.
קצת סבלנות.
והרבה רגישות.
ויצירתיות.
לחשוב מחוץ לקופסה.
תזכיר לי מה אני צריכה להגיד?
להגיד את זה? כן. אין בעיה.
נגישות.
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 נקסות.
Imagine all the people living for today. You may say I'm a dreamer. Well, I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one.
לכל אחד יש מקום. עמותת נגישות ישראל הופכת שילוב למציאות.
נגישות.
So we are almost done, okay? Be patient, talk to the person. As we believe in Access Israel, the accessibility is equal to sensitivity, so be sensitive to the people around you. And now, any other questions?
Catherine, they ask in the chat if you can say something about any other technologies.
Or any other technology. We do have people that they are coming with a companion, with a sign language. It's very difficult to the lecture because when you have it on the first time and the people are usually looking on someone who is doing the gesture and translating the sign language. So if it works, let's say, only for the first meeting, after they are looking on a lecturer. We do have a sign language translation. Rami, did you put it in the chat, the sign language?
Yes, we've put links to many kinds of technologies. You can look up and copy it before the meeting is ending because it will disappear.
And did we put the sign now lecture?
Yes, everything that was in the document.
Okay, so you can use these documents. You do have a Microsoft translation that this is accessible. It gives you a translation from different languages and capturing. So it's built in Zoom, it's built in presentations, and built in Microsoft. You can really use it, and it's free.
Sorry, we missed the link for the sign now. If you can put it, please.
Sign now, I will put it here. I can share the additional information for the Purple Vest mission from the site. We do have an information there. And the translation to the sign language, you can have it from here. And as you know, the sign language, they are different from each language, okay? So if I know the Hebrew sign language, I don't know the Ukrainian sign language. So this application can actually, using this application, you can reach any person with any sign languages you really need, including Ukrainian. Text to speech, sign now, slides and events. I think this. Rami, maybe you can just give an example of accessibility in
Digital?
Digital.
Yes, if you send a student or anyone else documents about your lecture, any kind of documents, PDF or Word or Excel, you can use tools inside the Microsoft Office to make it more accessible. Make sure the lines are separated, make sure the language is simple, make sure that if you have any list or bullets, it is defined properly by the Microsoft Word. Make sure tables are accessible by mentioning the head of the table. Numbering the lists, make sure headlines are in the proper style. Yeah, that's about it. If you wish to know more, you can look up on the internet. I'm sure there's a lot of website explaining about how to make documents more accessible. You can also send us emails if you wish. We can help you with English documents, and we can give you a few pointers.
And be aware of the colors. If you're using
and
kind
contrast,
of,
yes. Mm-hmm.
The yellow colors are not accessible.
Yes, also give descriptions if you have any images of graphs, any images that has information in it. You can use the tools in the Microsoft to add text that will be read if it will recognize a picture with information in it.
And usually the website, they do have a button, okay, for accessibility for a person who have a visual disability, that if you push on a button, he can read you all the text that written on the site. So it describe you what actually other people are reading. I hope I answered your questions. Any other things? We're running out of time. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for participating. And I hope to see you soon on other different lectures. So hope to be in touch. Please care about yourself, and have a safety evening. And thank you to organizers, and thank you to Tatiana for all the translation that they give you for the 2 hours. Natalia, do you have a question?
Да, я хочу подякувати теж за ініціативу і за проведення сьогоднішнього заходу. Дуже цінна інформація, вона багато в чому для нас нова, тому ми надіємося на подальшу співпрацю. І ми тоді з вами сконектимося за нашим каналом. Я думаю, що будуть ще додаткові групи, хто хотів би прослухати і отримати нову інформацію, підвищення кваліфікації. Дякуємо вам.
I'm writing you down my email and my mobile phone. I do have a WhatsApp, Telegram, Viber, etc. So actually you can contact me, Ukrainian, Russian, English. Reach me and we'll try to answer, no problem. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening, guys.
Thank you everyone for participating, and I hope you keep safe and healthy. Goodbye.